Today's the day. Today's the day. Doing my review today, guys, of the Profoto B10s. I'm very excited. Let's do it. All right, guys, today we are in downtown Miami, gonna be shooting a beautiful Russian model for a review of the new Profoto B10 location kit. Here's the thing, is that 2 months ago, I purchased the B1X location kit, 2 heads, the backpack, I got it, I loved it. 5 days later, Profoto, they announced the new Profoto B10s. Initially, I wasn't that concerned because they're only half the power output at 250 watt seconds. But then I started seeing some YouTube videos and did a little research. Long story short, it turns out that these heads are only about a half stop difference in power output to that of the B1X. So I myself was scouring YouTube looking for details in how the new Profoto B10s would actually perform on a real life photo shoot. I didn't find a whole lot out there, and the stuff that I did find still left a lot of questions for me. So today I'm making that video myself, and I'm gonna show you exactly what these can do and what they can't. Let's do it. Awesome, hold it there. All right, guys, so basically right now we've got a situation set up where baseline exposure in the camera, I'm at the max sync at 200 parts of a second, shooting f10 at ISO 100, 2 Profoto B10s. I got a kicker back there with a 2-stop increase with the Magnum Reflector. That's at power level 10 at max power. And then up front here, this guy is at 9.9. Let's just put it right to 10. And we have the silver 2-foot beauty dish with no interior baffles, no center cap or sock or anything like that. So we'll do a few shots and see how it comes out. Maybe one like with the legs like over like this. Yes, like that. Good, even more, bring the shoe over a bit more, right there. Yes, like that. And then turn the dress slightly away from the light and then turn the face back to the light, like that. Yes, like that. Oh, that's nice. So just like that, very good, very good. Hold it there. Hold it there.
I'm just a fake silhouette, avoiding every threat.
All right, so I'm gonna switch over. This was at 2.8 at f10. I'm gonna switch over to my 85. I'm gonna try a little high-speed sync and just kind of change up the look a little bit. So let's do that. So now we're gonna drop the aperture down. I'll try to go full open at 1.2. We'll bring that shutter up. Let's put this over into HSS. And let's try it at 4,000. So at 4,000, 1.2, ISO 100. These are still maxed out. Let's see what happens. Love it, Maria, hold it there. Try to make the legs a little bit longer. Yeah. Turn the heel so I can see it on the camera side. Yes, like that. Hold it, yeah. Beautiful. So I actually ended up, the first test shot was at 4,000ths of a second at f1.2 ISO 100, and it was a little bit too bright in the ambient. So I went right to 8,000, the max shutter speed of this camera, to 1.2 at ISO 100. And even then, it's a little too bright. But actually, the balance came out really phenomenal. Super happy with how those images came out. And yeah, so at full power, these B10s can fully overpower the sun, both in native sync and in high-speed sync at the max shutter speed at 1/8000, as you see. So we've got more to do. Really good. One of the things I love about these B10s, as you can see, is that, you know, I have my assistant, which has the carbon fiber monopod, and then I just have this one stand here with my kicker light on a Nano. And traveling with this, walking around from location to location, is just super lightweight, super easy, really cool. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna shoot with the 70 to 200, and then we'll have her standing on this column, shooting her this direction, and I'm gonna compress the shot so that the entire frame is just these two columns in its entirety, and then we can transition to do a different kind of setup. So what we'll do is that we just put the bag over here. By the way, I'm using the new Canon EOS R mirrorless camera. We've done a couple weddings and some other photo shoots. Phenomenal camera. Really enjoying this small, lightweight camera. And what we'll do here is I'm going to anticipate a lower exposure so we can save. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the ETTL trick. So what I'm going to do, so we were just using these at full power at value 10. We know it's going to be too much fit for these columns. So I'm going to take one test shot in TTL, let the flash system decide what it thinks is the right power. I'll look at it, tweak it, and then I'll switch over to manual, and hopefully it'll be a really fast and easy way to transition. So let's see how that works. Now, one thing I want to mention real fast is you'll see next to me, I have this beautiful brand new Think Tank Mindshift 30L Freelight backpack. This is amazing. I'm not using the included Profoto backpack. I'm going to do a separate video on this backpack because it's really important that I am able to bring the lights and the camera gear all in one bag for travel and things like that. And that's what this bag is for. It's amazing. So one thing when you're working with any of these flashes, especially these really small ones, is the fact that you want to use a counterweight on the stand because there is a bit of a breeze and we don't want this to knock over our very expensive light. So we're going to bring this over. I actually have this guy here, I'll show you. This is a California Sunbounce just clip. You could use like a carabiner and just put this over your bag like this. And then you have like this really cool way to kind of anchor this thing down and just throw this on your light stand just to give it some mass so that this isn't going to go anywhere, which is nice because now we don't have to carry an extra sandbag with us when we go on location. So now this guy is going to be off to the side a bit more. We don't want the light to be direct because it will put too much light on this. What we want to do is slice the light in conjunction with the natural light, which is coming this direction. So this is going to be great. Have you right about here? And that should do it. Let me do a quick test, hang tight. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to lock that down now in manual. In group A, I'm going to ramp up just a little bit more. I'm going to put one full extra stop in group A, and in group B, I'm going to do the same thing. So we will see how that goes right now. Good. Turn your face more that way. Good. Hold it there. So real quick to recap, guys, this was at 5.3. So the images that I'm going to show on the screen, those are shot at 5.3, and then on the kicker light back here, this one is probably, this one was actually more. This is at 7.7. It was further away. The reason why I have the light here and not closer to her, which I could have afforded based on this composition, is because I wanted this light to cover her from head to toe. So I wanted a nice rim light that would go from her head to, if I get this closer to her, it becomes more efficient. I can ramp the power down, which is good for battery life, but the issue is now I got a hot spot that's focused around her head and her mid-back area, and that's not what I wanted. These are full-length shots, and so I want to get as much light throughout her whole body as possible. See one other thing real quick, just so we can see it, guys. So that was, the main light was obviously the strip light. I just want to see what it looks like with a harder light source because Maria's skin is practically flawless. I think that it would go really well and it would just give like a sharper kind of a contrast. I just want to try it for 2 or 3 shots just to compare, okay? So that's what we're going to do. And one of the reasons I love the Profoto system is the fact that it is super easy to just switch these out and just pull these guys right off. And then we're going to put on that Magnum reflector, which will give us a much different result. Whether I will like it or not, we will see. It may be better, I don't know. But we're here and we're doing this review, so this is the opportunity to experiment. And we know right away we're going to be turning this down. So it's at 5.3, so we're just going to go down to, let's just put it at 4.0 as a starting point. And we can just do a quick test just to compare to see what the light quality differences are. And also get an idea of what the spill is going to be compared to that strip light. So actually, I kind of like it better because it actually, somehow it spotlights her even more so than that strip bank did. So let me just do another test. Hold it there. Hang tight. Yeah, I do like it a lot. Chin up a little bit. Good. Just do this. Turn your legs in your dress so that you kind of bias it this way, and then you'll turn your face back to the light. Kind of like what we did in the very, very beginning, if you remember. The reason why I'm having her do that is so that I retain detail on the dress. See, the problem is this, is that when the subject in your model is facing the main light source, sometimes it's hard, especially if she was wearing white, it's going to blow out a lot of the details. When she turns that dress away from the main light source, it rakes this light across the garment and it creates texture and dimension in what she's wearing, and then her face goes in the direction of the light, which is where I want the brightest spot to be. So typically that's the best way to go. Pretend there's a string pulling you up like this. Try to hold that pressure in your lower back for these shots. Have all the hair kick this way. Always have the hair go in the direction of wherever your kicker light is so that the highlight picks it up. Yes, like that, like that, like that. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's much better. Now turn your face in, yeah. Do a quick test there, hold it for exposure. Oh, this is great. Yeah, I do prefer this lighting setup over the strip box, so this is interesting. Good, hold it there. Very nice, turn the chin more. Yeah, right there, good. Yeah, just keep your face that direction, but the eyes look back at me. Yeah, like that. That's awesome. Good, we got it. So that's awesome. And now let's just take a quick look at this balcony, and then we'll do, all right guys, so we started off using the 1x3 strip bank because I wanted to isolate Maria from the couch and just have a very defined light source on her, which makes sense. I think that if I added a grid to that 1x3, it would have had the effect that I was really actually going for. And it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. However, just as an experiment, I wanted to grab the Magnum reflector and compare. And the second that I did that and added just a little bit more of a harder light source, it's so much more than just the shadows values of the two lights. To be honest with you, there wasn't really a big difference between the hardness of the two different modifiers. The biggest difference is in the light distribution. So for instance, the one with the Magnum, there's a very defined like spotlight kind of effect to it when you're in close, and then the fall off of the light was in a way that I usually have to then tweak in post-production. So oftentimes with a lot of my photography, I get home and everything looks great, but I want to drive more emphasis on the face and have a more defined fall off to the legs and the surrounding areas to kind of really just make a high contrast shot. And what I was really impressed with this dish, this reflector, I'm sorry, is the fact that it kind of did that right out of the gate, and that is very helpful. So very, very cool. Love the contrast, I love the quality of light, and the shots look absolutely sick. Now, there are two things about the B10 that I am not wild about, and this is actually a good opportunity to kind of tell you one of them. This is not a negative in the sense that it's a deal breaker, but it's something to note, and that is that, so we've been working now a couple hours on this photo shoot, and my hands are not sweaty, but you know, maybe like a little bit kind of moist, I guess. And the way that you adjust the angle here, they've made this super compact for travel, which is really great. And it does actually have, it looks like it's solid metal, but it actually has a little bit of a rubber kind of a feel to it. It's sort of hard to describe. Picture like solid aluminum with like a very light aluminum, very light rubbery kind of coating to it. You loosen it and adjust the head, and then you tighten it. The issue is that this can be very difficult to kind of grab when you're out quickly wanting to adjust this light. The other thing is that unlike the B1X, this is a ratcheted system. So there are teeth that you can feel kind of wanting to grip it, which I don't really care for that so much. So anyway, that's one small little gripe with the light that's not perfect, but it's not a deal breaker.
Come, give me some more of that sugar spun. I can't stop thinking about it. Yum, honey bun. Don't think I could ever run.
The little tip for you is that I'm using obviously a custom, I'm using a Calvin white balance setting in the camera. And because she's with a lot of green behind her and I'm letting in a lot of ambient, I'm getting a lot of like reflections and refractions from the color. So I'm getting a little bit of color contamination of green in her skin. So to help save some time in post, I've shifted the white balance magenta 2 or 3 clicks, in blue 2 or 3 clicks. So that's gonna eliminate a lot of that color contamination in the skin at the point of capture, so that things are just that much closer to perfect out of the camera.
So won't you give me some?
That's fine, actually that's better like that, because now the dress is away from the main light. Put the rear shoe back more so we can see it. Yep, just put the back shoe and the one in the back. Yeah, over this way more, like that, yeah. Knees right together, good. Nice and tall here, nice and tall. Yes, like that, so you kind of roll and then looking off kind of this way. Can you have all the hair go this way so the wind also takes it that way? That's for that kicker light in the back. There we are, now it's coming together, Maria. All right, hold it there. Hang tight. Good, look, turn your face more that direction. Good, hold it there.
Yum, yum, honey bun, don't think I will ever run. There's no
Maybe like leaning forward and put an elbow on the knee. Yeah, like that. And then bring the purse closer to you, I think. Right about there. Yeah, like that. That's cool. Right. Good, the hair's good. Go tall here to help right here. There we go. Right, yes, that's better there. Good, there, hold it. Nice, hold it there. That's it, good, hold it there. Nice, right there, very nice. Just the eyes looking, yes, very nice, good. The second thing that I'm not wild about, and this is kind of something that no one's mentioned on any of the other YouTube videos, is the fact that when the beep happens on the light to recycle to let you know that it's ready for the next shot, it's about half as loud as a normal flash unit, and I've had several. So if you compare this to like a B1X or like an Ellen Chrome Quadra or any of the Godox lights, basically anything else, the loudness of that ready beep is about half, which is actually perfect if you're indoors and there's not a lot going on. It's actually preferred because it's not that distracting, which is really nice. But when you're outdoors and there's boats going by and there's airplanes and there's just ambient noise ricocheting everywhere, hearing those beeps is a little bit more of a struggle than what it has been in the past. I wish there was an option on the light to turn up that volume, but there doesn't seem to be any of that now. Maybe there'll be a firmware update. No idea, but Profoto, if you're listening, and I know that you're going to see this video, definitely consider that for any future lights that you develop, is just to have an option to have that ready beep to be a little bit louder. Now, here's the kicker to that, though. So with that said, what's unique about the Profoto light specifically, and this is a unique thing to Profoto, I think, only, as far as I know, is that although I can't necessarily hear the beep, I'm sort of just shooting at my leisure, and whatever makes sense, I'm hitting the trigger. And there's been a few occasions where I know that I've shot 2 or 3 shots like consecutively, and although I'm using like pretty much the max power in some of these shots, it does it. Like Profoto lights will just, like you won't get a dropped frame like you will on any other lighting system. So like for instance, on my Quadras, on my Ellen Chrome Quadras that I had for 7-8 years, if I hit another frame before it beeps, it would be just a black frame on my camera, right? If I'm underexposing the ambient. In other words, the flash just wouldn't fire or it would be nothing. On these lights, that doesn't happen. So they magically are able to produce another exposure. Now, Profoto claims, and they give a full disclosure, that the flash may not be as powerful as it should be, because if you advance the ready beep, but I don't really see much of a difference. Those shots that I see back to back, they look like they're exactly the same power. So that's pretty cool. So I wouldn't sit there and fire, consecutively on purpose, but if you just happen to shoot and it's not fully ready, it looks like that you're going to be able to get away with that, which is pretty cool. So. Turn your face to the light. Yes. Right. Hold it there. Gerald, very slightly pull back a little bit. No, too much. Go forward a little bit, right there. Good, I like that, Maria. Hips, hips, hips. Yes, yes. Right. That's good, and then just turn the face to the light. Alex, back up a little. Good, hold it there. Hold it there, Maria. Take like one step. Go. Freeze. That's it. Pose. Looking into the light. That's it. Yes. Movement. So, if you're going to get the B10s, I think you need to automatically order the Magnum Reflectors, the ones that we've been using today. These really are amazing. They add 2 stops of power to the light. It puts the B10 instantly in a power category well above that of what it would be bare bulb or through another modifier. The concern that I had was, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't necessarily want to use that as my modifier all the time on location. You know, I'm used to using octaboxes and beauty dishes and things that are typically have been efficient, but also like a softer light source. I gotta tell you, despite the fact those being a very hard, efficient reflector, they produce a really flattering result on the subject, and they don't at all create sharp shadow lines. If you take it off and you shoot with just the bare bulb, I think that's actually sharper. So, and it's not just because the source is now bigger, it's just the pattern of that light output just looks really great on the subject. So it is, in all honesty, a realistic solution as a primary modifier, I think, on engagement sessions or anything else. And especially in situations where you're gonna overpower the sun. Here's the thing with this, is that the times where I want the most power out of these lights, out of any lighting system, that's where I have like a really bright ambient. Like the sun is out, it's bright, we're trying to kill that sky, we're trying to get, you know, just to pull in all that detail, you know, and so it makes sense because of that type of look to use that modifier, because now you're combining the hard sun as like usually like a backlight or rim light with another harder light source. So when it gels together in the frame, it all sort of makes sense. And in practicality, using a softer light source to try to do that anyway wouldn't really make that much sense. Where it does make sense is that where you're in like a softer environment, like in general. So if you're in open shade, or you're gonna be shooting like late in the day or super early in the morning, and you just want that really close in, soft, buttery light, and you wanna use a larger modifier, that's all fine and good. And in those situations, you're not gonna be in a position where you need to overpower heavy ambient anyway. So it all kind of makes sense in the end when you really think about it. At least for me, in the way that I intend to use the lights. So I'm very happy. All right, guys, so we just wrapped up the shoot. We did several different looks all around this downtown area here of where my model lives. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys. So we did a total of 880 frames that were shot. Most of those were in the upper power ranges of the flash units, where I feel like a majority were like 8 or 9. So that's pretty cool. So let's just take a look and see. So this here, let's turn this guy on. This is group 1B, which this is our kicker light, and this currently shows power level of 2 bars, which is 50% power on this one, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. And we'll take a look at the other guy here, and this guy, which is our main light, also is still at half power. So we shot 880 shots, and both the batteries are about 50%. That's pretty amazing for this small little lightweight system. I horsed it, HSS, the whole 9 yards all day out in the hot sun, and everything held up really well, so very impressed. I started reverse learning about watt seconds and how it really doesn't mean anything in terms of gauging how powerful a light is. And I'm gonna drop some links below to Profoto Academy. these guys went and they actually tested all these lights in their studio, and they did it in a way that is just awesome. And you can learn that it has a lot more to do with the spread of light, the efficiency of the reflector inside of the flash tube. Anyway, all these different metrics come into play. At the end of the day, the bottom line is that the B10s are just about as powerful as the B1X. The B1, if you have a B1 or B1X and you want to know how powerful a B10 is, if you put those lights at about 9.5 on the power scale, and then put it through whatever modifier you want to use, that's basically the equivalent of using a B10 at full power. And for most applications, that's fine, that's great. And in some cases, it's just a matter of getting your light in just an extra, I measured like nothing scientific, but it's about 3 feet, give or take, 2 or 3 feet, getting in closer with a modifier. And I was able to achieve basically the same exposure values in real world situations. So that's super awesome. And then if you combine the high efficiency Magnum reflector with that, now you're adding 2 stops on the B10 anyway. So all these variables start to become very minuscule when you really start using them out in the real world. So I'm able to do everything I was able to do with the B1X with half the size, half the weight, much more portable, which is great. And they're probably not as efficient when you're horsing them at full power as the B1X would be, but it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off of having the size and the weight. And so far we've shot several hundred frames. Most of these frames today have been at full power, and the batteries are still showing half charge. So that's a really good sign. Okay. It's awesome. It's good? Okay. All right, guys, so today, hang on. Train.